Again, welcome back. We've come a long way and are just about to end this series. Last time we started with 2 bricks, which had been given a top and a bottom lip. At the end, we created a nearly finished project enclosure. However, we still needed a way to secure the box top to the box bottom. That, of course, would be the internal bosses at each corner. In this episode, that's exactly what we'll be doing. Anxious to begin? Then let's get started. Before we begin, I want to say that this step turned out to be the most difficult one to achieve without breaking the model upon scaling. That said, it turned out to be a tremendous learning experience for me. To begin, we're going to go backtrack a little by deleting the notch we created in the last part, leaving us with just the bare sketch on the box bottom. We'll double-click in Body 001 and select Sketch 004 at the bottom of our model tree. Next, we'll zoom in, centering our sketch, and select all of the lines in that sketch. Having selected these lines, we'll press Toggle Geometry to flip everything to construction using the Toggle Geometry icon. We'll again press the same icon to switch all lines to construction mode. Using the Rectangle tool, we'll create another rectangle and center it on our axis. We'll now dimension that rectangle using the Boss Min dimensions. While we wait for this to complete, I do want to take time to thank all of my channel's new subscribers. I really do appreciate all the likes I've received, but subscribing is the thing that moves me forward toward YouTube funding. Also, it's important after subscribing to hit the notification bell as well. If you don't, you won't be notified when the next part of this series is released. So if you haven't already, please take time to hit that subscribe and notification. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Before we go further, we need to take a look at just how these last 2 dimensions were defined. As you can see, the boss minimum width equals width internal notch, which we discussed before, minus 2 times the enclosure boss diameter. This dimension we'll be discussing when we get into defining the dimensions of the screws we'll be using. The only thing I'll say now that it's governed by the clearance diameter of the screws chosen. From this, it follows that boss minimum height equals height internal notch minus 2 times the enclosure boss diameter. We'll now switch back to our drawing where we'll, for the sake of clarity, begin hiding our dimensions. First, we'll use the vertical scroll bar on the combo box to view our constraint list. One by one, we'll click on a dimension and notice that dimension is highlighted in the combo box. We'll then uncheck the visible box for that dimension. Next, it's time to create our 4 construction rectangles in the 4 corners between our new created rectangles. We'll now, if necessary, zoom in on each rectangle and pin the corners of that rectangle to the corners of the adjacent larger rectangle using the coincident constraint tool. For the benefit of all of my subscribers, as well as those considering a subscription, it's important to check the configuration of your Google account. In your account configuration, there is an option to turn on or off notifications. If that is switched off, no matter who you subscribe to, you will not receive notifications. If you don't know how to do it, there are several YouTube videos on the subject of configuring your account. In any event, if you've noticed that you're not getting notices of any type, it's a good idea to check your account configuration. It's time to switch out of our construction mode and create 4 free-floating lines near the perimeter of our largest rectangle. Following the previous procedure, we'll fasten these lines to our drawing using the coincident constraint tool. As a final construct, we'll select 2 lines from our newly created small boxes and convert them from construction to regular lines. This creates the sketch we need, therefore we'll now close the sketch. As before, we'll again notch the modified sketch to the previous depth. As you can see, we've now created the 4 bosses in our box bottom needed to create the fastener holes. We'll now recreate these same exact steps for the box top. Well, there you have it. We now have a set of bosses on both the box top and bottom. Next, we'll start drilling the holes. I'll then introduce you to a very interesting and versatile tool you'll use again and again, namely the hole tool.